Are we on YouTube?
We're on
Nope, we're on
YouTube,
YouTube.
baby.
So here, I'll just drop the link into the chat. so that it's easier that way.
YouTube.com/dying of exposure.
I had to
Okay.
I had to refresh my recommended page, like my YouTube front page, until like upcoming. Oh, hey, we're live.
There
right
we
now.
be.
Yeah, we're
Oh wow, it
live.
pinged on my phone too.
Yes, it did. If you follow the
That's-
channel.
I do.
Well, I know, right? Integration, baby. And now, if you go to the actual channel page, it shows that we're live. Like the first video is doing that. I'll fix the eventual alt thumb. That was from a bygone era when I thought I was going much more productive. That was not the case. But I did smoke a lot of hookah.
I think that happens to most jobless human beings.
Yeah, I got real good at not doing a lot. Real good at it. I don't know, how y'all doing? It's been a little bit. How you doing? Ryan's good. He's been watching football. It's back to football season, and so you were required. Camille's trying to stop being friends with me, which is okay, I suppose. That's fine.
I'm just trying to lessen our friendship.
I mean,
hope you
it's
can
like,
understand.
I mean, a little bit less of me is a strong choice and a correct one.
I see you more than I see my own mother.
Well,
Like
that's true of everyone I see in my life more than twice a year. So that is not impressive. That is, you got to come.
my
with
mom
better
lives
names.
down the road.
Well, she's probably a baby boomer, and therefore her politics and opinions are bad, and you shouldn't see her very often. I'm just saying.
So bad. She's trying her best.
It's not good enough. That's what I said to my family. Too bad. Your best does not equal up. I remember hearing about that when I was a kid. Now I've turned it around on them.
Got him.
You know, trying still doesn't mean you win, Steve. And yeah, I guess it didn't. But nonetheless, Aaron caught AAA Ron caught leprosy. Much like spoilers for Hot D, much like King Viserys in House of the Dragon. Covered in sores. Considering taking care of a little child who will one day challenge the kingdom for the throne.
Night night.
Trying to avoid incest, just like that character.
She said no.
Oh,
Good night, Remy.
all right. So there's a new bad cooking television show on Netflix. It's about making pizzas. The cooking competition about making pizzas. It's got a real bad pun name in it. I already can't remember it, and I was literally watching it right before I called.
Yeah, that's what we call
Pizza
consumable.
competition show Netflix. What are you called? It's bad. It's
Best in dough.
Best in dough, like Best in show. There you go. That's why.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep. That's the vibe. That energy. But this pizza competition that I bring it up is because in the first episode they have a bunch of Italian grandmothers, a bunch of nonas come on to make pizza things, but they flip the script on them a little bit, and they're like, we're gonna make you make pizza trends. And so a bunch of 70-plus-year-old Italian women who have been cooking pizza the same for a half a century, right? It's like, make pizza cones or pizza cupcakes or pizza nachos, right? And one of the contestants, when she was given pizza cupcakes, she's like, no, I didn't come here to make cupcakes. I'll make you something else. And then they just like had to let her. And I love that energy, that rejection of it's like, I came to a pizza cooking competition and the first thing you want me to do is make cupcakes. I'm 82 years old. I'm not going to do it. You can just kick me off the show. And it's just like, that energy of it's like, that is a little bit like you probably should have given them the heads up. Hey, round one might include baking desserts that do not include pizza dough. In the thing with dough in its fucking title. for it. But you know, it is. But otherwise, good show. Makes you want to eat a lot of pizza. That's it. If you like a good Netflix 10K or 10K per episode cooking competition, it's the same as all of the rest. It's the same as Is It Cake or Nailed It or one of the 4 dessert competition shows that Netflix runs at any given time.
As I said, so consumable. It's when you just want to like eat with your brain mindlessly. Just consume the content directly into your hungry, waiting maw.
Yep. Can you
Maw.
Some ma. You want some ma?
I do want some ma. I want some pizza is what I want. And like this show is gonna absolutely get me to eat pizza frequently while I watch it. Because I never grew out of being 12 years old. And so my favorite foods are cheeseburgers, pizza, and candy.
They're good.
Those are the 3 best foods. Every other food is only a delaying space make me desire those foods more. But yeah, I believe we left you all off at a fancy gala at what we renamed the Mont Blanc family's house in Waterdeep.
I think that was what it was when we started.
I should probably introduce the thing. Welcome to Dungeons and Dying of Exposure. My name is Steve. I am your dungeon mommy, and I am joined by the majority of the Booty P champions. Say hello, Booty P champions.
Hello, Booty P champions. Wow, that might have been the most we've ever been in sync.
Yeah, it's close. I mean, it's hard to do. We do use ICQ chat to do this, which is tough to get the VoIP over it. But, you know, we make it work. I tried to make it work on AIM, and then MySpace talk spaces, but neither of those worked. I went all the way back. When it comes to introductions, let's start with old Creaky over there. That chair needs help, bro. That chair needs help. It's crying. You're not even that big of a boy. What are you doing to that chair? Don't tell me.
It's what's been happening in it.
Oh no.
No, we can just say it. He's got the dumpy. It's fine.
Does have the dumpy.
There's a wheel broken on it too. I really need to replace it.
Do you need me to send you a chair? I have specialty fat people chairs. The chair I am sitting in now literally could take an ass that is 2 inches wider on either side of me. Like, it's a big chair. It's a fucking captain's chair. Its max weight is 600 pounds. I could have I could have romantic relations with Aaron in this chair at any time. And it would be fine. It would tolerate it. It would tolerate it. It would support it quite both emotionally and physically. But nonetheless, introduce yourself.
If this chair could talk.
Hi, I am Kadesh Flow. I'm sleepy. And I make sounds in real life. But in dying of exposure in the world of Waterdeep.
Yep. I
am Shuja.
There you go.
The trombone playing, blade singing wizard.
That is all 100% accurate information. Thank you very much. Dash, next, below Dash, for the last time ever, because I'm just gonna block them and not tell them why afterward. Introduce yourself, Camille.
I was hoping it would be Aaron, but I knew in my heart it was gonna be me.
Yeah, of course.
Hi, I'm Camille. I play Frond, a ghostwise halfling of the Circle of Spores. She's a little creepy friend. She's just trying her fucking best, but she's very gross and she's very awkward. And so, like, for that, she is a metaphor for me. Or perhaps a metaphor of how I see myself. Dang, that's dark.
I mean, it might be a metaphor, but it's also like a true thing,
Yeah.
truism and a metaphor at the same time. We see you the same way.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, or at least I do.
Oh yeah, I'm just a stinky little goblin that's trying their fucking best.
I mean, I've seen you at pirate events. That's an accurate statement of everyone there. And that's just what everyone's doing at those events. And
I don't think any of them are trying their best, including me.
Would you like to introduce yourself, oh man of the cloth? Oh, person that brings up Jesus at a social function.
My name is Triple A Ron, and I play Dragon, the Dragonborn cleric with 1 level of sorcerer.
Dragonborn cleric, 1 level of sorcerer. Little taste, little dash of sorcerer. Just a dash. just a little bit. Not like a deep committal.
I'm so separate.
Yeah. Sorcery components, not included. Are you gonna get like another layer of sorcerer if we ever go up a level?
Probably not. I only just needed like the 1 level of sorcerer for like a couple of things that let me like basically like fly away as soon as I make a hit.
Storm it up a little bit more. Yep.
Yeah. Basically, yeah. Is a little bit for the abilities, a little bit for the flavor, being like a Stormborn cleric.
Mm-hmm.
And like a man of the sea.
A man of the sea, a dragonborn of the sea.
A seaman.
Yeah.
We are not joined by our other dragonborn.
For the seaman flavor.
We've only got half the norm. We've only got half the dragonborn, but we still have 100% of the seaman. In the campaign today, Prowess could not join us, so Chesbey will still be busy in their meeting with a very interesting entrepreneur woman that sort of like walked off, and then they have been very busy putting up with Portland. Who is Chop Chop gonna play? Who's Chop Chop gonna play?
Chop Chop is gonna play Dragon's annoying little helper.
Oh, they're
Just
so
like, hey.
cute.
You know, that big open mouth and that adorable tongue come with the punishment of a dog that always has his mouth open and tongue out. It's like, this is great in stills. In person, it's still cute, but it's very moist. Oh, look at that, though. Look at that.
Damp. No.
Yeah. So welcome to the Dying of Exposure's Dog Watch. We could watch this dog for a while. A dog wanders into the concert, and all of you are distracted by it for several hours. Last time on Waterdeep Dragon Heist, the group kind of discovered the core of what was going on with all of the children from Troll Skull Alley, being kind of abducted by the Mont Blancs, and then like converted into non-children looking people in order to serve. They don't seem like they're being mistreated beyond like normal wealthy servants, which might call into question the entire wealth and economic class system in Waterdeep. But that's a question for another time. These particular children
systemic issues.
Yeah, that's a systemic problem.
Issues.
And as a white person from the suburbs, I just don't know how to fix those things. I just know that I can be a good person and not try and fix anything bigger than me. Anyway, but no, those kids, specifically Fron, kind of gets a vibe of what's going on with all of those children, brings that back to Dragon, who, after talking with more of the functionaries that happen to be at the product. What terrible thing did you put in the chat, you monster? I have to look. I have if that's what. Man without racist bone and body diagnosed with smear brain. All right. That interrupted the thing, but we'll go on.
We would never have an interruption on this show.
On this professional channel, on this channel where I'm currently trying to figure out how I can smoke a hookah in my office with the carpet and everything. I don't know. But like nonetheless,
Just get some paving tiles from outside and put them in your room. I'm a genius. That's a great idea.
That's not a terrible idea. We have extra paving tiles. Anyway, terrible idea. Steve, why are your videos for your job so smoky?
Smoke filter. For the drama.
Yeah, it's a idea. It's a thesis of film creation for professional business videos meant to recruit or meant to sell and market us online. But yeah. So after Dragon had the discussion with more of the functionaries, your everyday workers and stuff, Dragon and Frond kind of met back up and kind of discuss these children. Then they sort of aligned up with the idea of like, how could we extricate the kids, kind of smoking and talking in the cigar lounge where it could be a little bit more private, a little bit more functional between you two. How can we, like, get these people out? How can we help these people? And then and also with them not being like really excited to jump the gun, because they're not being treated well, but they're not being like abused or beaten. Like, they're housed, they eat, they get some probable pittance of pay. They just have to live under the body horror of being aged up with a combination of physical surgeries and stuff like that. And that's fine. It's, I don't know if you've been around Waterdeep. Lots of people die randomly. I don't know if it's much worse, but then you get pulled into a concert. All the meanwhile, Shuja is pulled in and harangued into being one of the members of the concert, puts that performance on. I believe at some point Dragon casts fog, and it's really obvious that Dragon cast fog. Like, he was not subtle about it. As like a charm spell was kind of going over the audience, but that spell faded. And it became the realization in the discussions between Frond and Dragon about like possibly embarrassing the Mont Blancs, because they must support this like art house and this art reliquary and that this eccentric composer runs, so that they can keep their status, right? They need to keep their appearances up. That perhaps you might be able to subtly lure away the talent, if you will, away from upper society and maybe toward a poppin' ass place of both religion and
debauchery.
Yeah, debauchery for pay, right? And that is I believe where we left off. I don't think there was anything after that like aha moment. But I might be missing something. I think so. And so Shuja, you're on stage with this section. You've performed excellently well on this. Tons of sweat. People were on chairs performing. The fog dissipated and everything like that. The audience is going nuts. It's one of the better performances. You can see your director just like slumped over on the back of a chair, kind of like leaning on his elbow on the back of a chair. Normally this would tip a chair, but a strong gust of wind could blow this rail thin man over. So he's just there, almost exhausted, as you got through what you would probably perceive, Shuja, as some of the most impenetrable music that anyone who is not a musician could possibly listen to. Like, music that feels like it's trying on purpose to confuse the audience, right? But very avant-garde, very talented, very skilled, just not really for mass or even mid-consumption. Probably only the most fringe of society would unironically or egotistically profess genuine joy of this. And then, of course, a musician's music. Right, anyone that is genuinely interested in the construction and theory behind music, tradecraft. You're on the stage. You see Dragon, who has dissipated the fog that you, even from the stage, saw Dragon cast for some reason. You see Frond beside Dragon. around beside them is Maloon, and I'm just gonna Maloon and the Matthew McConaughey motherfucker whose name I always forget.
Fuck. Oh fuck. Broxley.
Broxley, yeah, Broxley.
Got it in one.
Yeah, you did. Maloon and Broxley, and there, you know it's gone well. It was made clear to you that the conservatory requires this to go well, and everything. But there's apparently going to be another show in roughly about an hour. This was the we actually have jobs and function crowd. The next crowd is supposed to be the like real dollars crowd. You might actually catch a glimpse of Mont Blanc because none of them have been circulating the party yet. Because why show up to a party in your own state anywhere close to on time? You must make the people wait, right?
Does this mean so I'm performing again with this group of people?
In theory, that's what the director wants. Everyone did a great job. There will be, to give you it mechanically, I am not going to make you do a bunch of roles and perform again. You can make the choice to perform with them or not, depending on what you choose to do. But I am not. I will not then go and then you go back in here. Give me a performance check. Give me perception and insight. You will just successfully perform. In the same vein of what just happened. Because that is not super exciting. To play. But nonetheless. And so yeah, I guess that's the first question. You know that the that the expectation is that you will play again in a rough hour. Do you think Shuja would hang around for that? Because there is money to be made. Yeah, you have upped the amount of money you'd make. It's an easy 100 dragons now at this point. I think it started at 50
I'd like to,
and it goes to 80 and then everything like that.
If possible, I will take the performance opportunity. Is it possible for me to scan the crowd and see if I recognize anybody or if I'm capable of finding out who specific people are from someone else?
Yeah, you can do that. Perception or investigation, and this is of course beside Broxley, Maloon, Dragon, and stuff. Are you talking about the crowd that just watched you or the crowd that will watch you?
The crowd that's coming in. So this would be
the fancier, the higher society crowd.
Yeah. This would be closer to the end of the hour, I guess, as people are sitting down.
And you don't have to stay in the backstage. This is a very casual event. You know that you need to be back there in an hour. You got there beforehand because he kind of dragged you to the backstage, the kind of black box little theater that is. He dragged you back there much faster and a little early because he didn't know you. You just met and everything like that. But it's been clear that like the moment the lights kind of flash, you just would have to make yourself back to backstage. You'd have 5 minutes to warm back up and everything. So you don't have to stay on stage. You can go recollect with people, or you can hang out with these musicians and get more information about who might come with you, or who might come see you. What that conservatory is like under that almost madman, and everything. Like what's your play? What's your instinct?
Can you say that last sentence again?
You could hang out and investigate, like if you want to investigate some of the people that are coming in to see you, see if you recognize or get some information from them. You could either go about your business, then come back 5 minutes before the performance is on, and then do that, like warming up / during the performance, or you could hang out with the rest of the musicians the whole time and see what information you can not only get about the people that are coming in, the more rich and powerful, but also information on this guy who clearly leads a bunch of talented musicians and convinces them to play for him. That seems to run some sort of music conservatory here that gets paid for, and everything by the wealthy class, and so if you do the latter, you will have an easier time, and I will give you more information. If you do the former, you will be more involved in whatever Frond and Dragon decide to do. So it's kind of up to you.
So I'd rather hang around and try to find out more about the guy conducting the group, the orchestra, as well as seeing if I could get more information on who's coming. 'Cause mainly, I want to see if I can find out any information from my end about who might be supplying the children who, from my vantage point right now, seem to be coming into this place. Like, how are they coming about finding these people? Who's over that? And what is and what's the root of all that? You know, as far as like how it affects me. Do I need to be worried? Is it something that I can do anything about actually?
Yeah, I mean, certainly. So one of the musicians, let's go with a cellist, that's there, because they're switching. Most of the other people that aren't in, or a lot of the other musicians are flipping a little bit between instruments depending on the part of the piece that they're in. But the person that was primarily playing strings instruments and is currently plucking their cello, sort of leans to you, this kind of strange, kind of smooth-faced, almost unnaturally so. They don't seem to have much of a nose or much in the way of facial hair or anything like that. Not a species you're super familiar with. Kind of seems smooth, like they might be some sort of aquatic mixed species. As you're kind of looking around and everything like that, is just like, is this your first time in the Mont Blanc establishment? I know that you're, I believe you're from the Bougie Booty, but is this your first time in one of these kinds of gigs?
Yeah, it is. How much do you know about the organization? Are you really familiar with how this group gets hired?
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, most of us have either been regulars at the conservatory, learned there, or continue to perform with it. It was sort of like a club of who can put up with Sebastian the most, and if you can put up with him, you'll get pretty steady pay at these kind of cushy gigs. It's especially good for those of us that grew tired of constantly hustling at like little taverns with 5 people in them. So he put it together. And then it started as a school, and then it became a musical community, and now it's kind of a conservatory that publishes musical theory. The only thing that has to happen is that you have to play the work that he makes sometimes. And if that's not to your taste, or you're not talented enough to follow it, because it's not like he gives us time to think about it. He doesn't give us time to rehearse it. He thinks we should just be able to sight read this. So you kind of cuts the wheat from the chaff as you land walkers.
Has he ever actually killed anybody for underperforming?
Oh, of course not. It's mostly bravado. Plus, even like a first-year student at 13 could probably break him in half. He looks like a twig. He's gotten physical sometimes. You just have to punch him back and he'll stop. He's all bully. No follow through.
That's good to know. So he must be feeling an extraordinary amount of pressure if he's willing to do that.
Yeah.
I know that this is a big funding thing for the operation, for the conservatory. Do you know who's is it just the Mont Blancs who are making all this happen, or are there other people?
They're definitely the lion's share of the money. It doesn't cost hardly anything to run the conservatory in comparison to estates that are... The conservatory is mostly people that live there, and people that work out of there with the musicians. We also get paid at other gigs. And so they act like it's this big gift of charitable donations. It probably costs less than their stables alone. So they tend to like to have their name on the check. He's since resisted many efforts to have them call it the official Mont Blanc Conservatory of Music, because they're like, it should be our name, we're paying for it. And he told them, well, if you can write a single sheet of music I could tolerate having people play, you can do it, but it's not your conservatory of music, it's my conservatory. And that's why it's just called the Waterdeep Conservatory, because Sebastian doesn't care about fame, he cares about making people do his music.
Thanks for explaining that to me. How easy is it for, like, if you was just wanting to leave, would you be able to?
Like, yeah, it's not like a weird cult thing or anything. Like, you just like, it would be a waste of opportunity, but yeah, you can just go. And there's musicians that tour that occasionally play at the conservatory. They tour all around, up and down the Sword Coast, or they go across the sea and stuff like that, and they come back. Like, you're welcome to move in and out of the conservatory. There are students that just only learn there, and then they don't even become musicians. It's weird. He's the approval of any kind of both in-house instructor and or performer, as well as any students. He approves everyone, and he doesn't honestly care for everyone to be able to play well, unless you're specifically trying to play as part of the conservatory, and then you have to be good. Or he will boot you out, and you'll miss out on pretty easy paydays. Also, by the way, spread your name around. A lot of the rich people that aren't the Montblancs come, and it benefits them to get a conservatory musician to, like, play a birthday party, or like a small coming of age ball, or like a little soiree at theirs thing. So if if they know your name, they can, of course, hire you independently. That's how I get off my money here.
That sounds great. Do these people have attractive single women that come to these events by chance?
What? Attractive single women? If you're able to roll at them. All right, so the people that would attract single women that are here are bad people. But they have a lot of money. And so the women that are here that are willing to look past the bad person with a lot of money, also not great. See, I'm what's called demi-romantic. So what that means is I need to know someone before I can even begin. I'm also demisexual. I need to really, before I consider them that way. And so everyone that's in the, other than the serving staff, of course, and everyone that's invited here is like 99% chance a terrible person. In some way or another, they're probably bad. But terrible people have a lot of money. That's how it goes.
I mean, it was worth the ask. And my last question is: have you noticed any children who seem like they're living in some weird or interesting circumstances during your time playing at these events?
Give an insight check for me as you ask that question, because his answer is going to be the same, but. Are there little kids being kept in this house? Definitely.
Why is this die taking so long to roll? It's just stuck.
It's hanging out.
There it is. So it looks like that's is that right? Looks like it's a 9.
He coughs for like a little bit, just like a no, I'm normally I'm only here for this party. I haven't seen any kids. I don't imagine there would be any kids. The Mont Blancs don't have any kids, as far as I know. They have a series of interns, are a series of like wards, essentially adult wards.
Wards, okay.
That are like younger adults, right? They're teenagers, and those they make them compete to get a spot on the essentially family estate so that they can do it. It's a very it's so Mr. Mont Blanc loves to feel like he's very powerful. So what he does is when he decides to do their performance reviews on how they've done with the family's investments and businesses, he does it on a public stage. And then if someone is not good enough during that performance review, he lets them go by saying you're fired, and then the audience applauds. And that's him. He's absolutely the worst. But again, public image, right? He needs to be seen as strong, and somehow he thinks being strong is firing people with very little means. But it's not for me to judge. The money's good, or rather, it's bad, but it's bad from every direction. So it's as good, I guess.
Okay.
When you get in, make eye contact with people, I'll kind of let you know who, based off when they sit. When we come back to when the dungeon mommy comes back to our scene, we'll talk about who you should pay attention to as they file in. And we cut from Shuja, and we cut over to Frond and Dragon in the audience, kind of filing out. Along with Maloon and Broxley, unless you want to hang out in the theater after everyone exits before the next crowd comes in.
No, unless you have a particular reason to hang out, I think we should probably shuffle out quietly.
Yeah, I don't. Fron is kind of just walking, kind of not. She's trying to solve this kid puzzle.
Again,
she's kind of
so you had an inspirational moment last session where after dropping a glass on the ground, you realized in a true eureka moment that that performance went really, really well. Like, Maloon had said that it was the best he'd ever seen them do and everything like that. And with Shuja on stage, maybe you could get that performance to them because the Mont Blancs host this every year and everything. And you all have a very successful...
Maybe I'm just a little brain dead. So, I'm trying to figure out how stealing the musicians away and having them perform at the Bougie Booty will get these kids released.
It's definitely not a straight line.
So
if you want to think on it for a bit, well, Maloon and Broxley kind of talk up Dragon and you're not really paying attention about the other things that you can do at this thing to keep sanity, or whether or not after this party you all are just going to go keep the Bougie Booty going all night so they can have a real food and real relaxing time, since they both frequent the Bougie Booty pretty regularly now. It's kind of their after work home, and in Maloon's case it's pretty much his office now.
The yawning portal misses his money.
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
But yeah, if you want to roll a dice about it, you can.
Yeah, I'm a little brain thoughtless, so
okay.
Would this be an insight?
Insight, investigate, a raw intelligence save if you want to do that.
Insight is best. That's only a 6 plus 5 is 11.
It's definitely you definitely feel like this is more like you have something and your mind keeps being stuck on it. Like, you feel like you should take this from the Mont Blancs. You don't know what, so you want to hurt bad people that hurt good people, or at least innocent people, and taking something that they like is a great way to do it. But how does that get you to your goal? Dragon, you feel Maloon's hand clasp on your shoulder, and Dragon, all right, so after this, me and the boys, and by boys I mean a various mix of genders, I'm just using the parlance that I was raised in, me and the boys, we all saddle up to this little mini bar, and do various constitution-based contests, spicy peppers, worst whiskey, how much of a gallon of milk can you drink before you puke? You know, man stuff, real powerful adult behavior. And so, would you like to join us in this fine contest of wills, or do you have elsewhere to be? You know, I don't really know if you have like night service or something at church. I don't really know anything about all that, but
Midnight mass.
well, midnight mass.
Let me check real quick. I'll 1 second. And he takes Frond aside. He's like,
Yes.
should we should we stick together, or do you like, are you gonna be fine on your own? What are you thinking?
I don't. Oh, I feel like we should make the party at our place with these musicians, but I don't know how to pull it off or how it might help.
See if we can get the musicians to come to the Bougie Booty.
Yeah.
And now you, Dragon, can roll insight, investigation, an intelligence save, something like that. On that, and see if you get
athletics. Oh,
no, not athletics.
6 on insight.
6 on insight.
Perception, maybe?
No, I'm not gonna. Perception's about kind of what you see and everything. It's not really about deducing anything. With the 6, you're also saying you also get the same sort of instinct, which is like, I don't think that would help with the kids, but it would be good. It'd be very satisfying to take this from them, because right now you're kind of stuck, because like Frond really wants to get these kids out of here, but like this is not beating up some pranksters outside Trollskull Manor. This isn't even fighting bugbears or even a criminal organization. This is a moneyed, wealthy, influential family that has connections with all layers of power in Waterdeep. You can't just sword your way into it and or in your case, anchor knock around some bitches and figure it out, right?
I feel like even with the 6 insight, even Dragon would also understand that we can't just go like, hey, how about doing it at our place?
No, but I'd say if you were talking about taking the musicians, well, you know one of them, because it's Shuja. And if Shuja is willing to continue to play with the people, even yourself and Frond, who may not be so musically inclined, could see that it's like, well, whatever that was, it was very complicated and hard looking to play. Kind of thing. In a very, like, I'm unaware of, like, why this music was played at me. But it seems very, it seems very, very impressive. It seems so avant-garde. No one knows what it means. So you would know that, like, probably if you want to talk about getting the musicians, how that might help you deal with children, it's not even clear. But if you just kind of want to smack the Mont Blancs in the face while you're figuring out a plan of actually liberating the kids, you could do that. Like, you're a business. The Bougie Booty is a business. There's no reason, reason you can't have musicians play at your bar. They already do.
The immediate. Okay, so having had that thought, the immediate next thought on Dragon's mind would be, all right, so let's say we rescue these kids. Is there anything preventing the Mont Blancs from just getting another batch of kids to do the exact same thing?
Not going to make you roll for that again.
Why we have to embarrass them and reveal it.
Right. Oh, okay, right.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm not going to make you roll for that again. The answer is no. There is nothing that prevents the Mont Blancs from just going and harvesting more children. For the most benign children harvesting plot of all time, I just want cheap labor. I'm just wanting cheap labor, and I don't want to actually apprentice kids.
Yeah.
and everything. I don't want to have to worry about hiring people. I don't want the rumors that adults can spread. I got to get them when they're young so that they just think, well, it's a living, and then they just move on like a prehistoric animal in the Flintstone house. Truly the most nightmarish jobs of all time.
Okay.
And so yeah, there's nothing preventing them from that. So exposure is probably the name of the game. But there's also, it's like, but there are currently various staff members that are currently under this yoke of oppression, if you will.
Okay.
Well, I guess if we embarrass the shit out of them, we'll have more power when we have our eventual reveal. Maybe.
Yeah, possibly, probably. We'll also definitely make some enemies. So, we'll see.
And money.
And money, sure, yeah.
The only one other person in the group that's like, yeah, money, whatever. Anyway, if that had been Shusha or Chesmate, would have been like, yeah, money's a great bonus. That goes in the pro column.
Dragon turns back to what's his name again?
Maloon.
Broxley, Maloon.
Maloon or Broxley. Those are the two guys. Those are the two pros.
Yeah. He like puts a hand on his shoulders, like, possibly. So, where were you guys planning on going again?
It's a little whiskey bar that Mr. Mont Blanc keeps down in one of his various studies. It's gaudy as all hell, but looks kind. It's stocked up great. Then we have some people bring us some like hot peppers and stuff like that. We bet on each other, see who's gonna win. Stuff like that. It's honestly the only thing else to do here besides get yourself blackout drunk to tolerate talking with the majority of the people in this soiree.
All right. So that sounds like a good plan B. Tell you what, I'm going to talk to a couple of people, and if we can make a couple things happen, how would you feel about coming to the Bougie Booty instead?
I mean, you don't gotta twist my arm to bring me back. The bottom line is the quantity of nightcaps that the Bougie Booty provides. It absolutely outstrips most of my evening's entertainment options anywhere else.
All right, good man. I'll be right back.
Besides, all my paperwork and work I have to do tomorrow morning is already there at my regular table. Cut back to a scene of like the ghost moving by like a side booth that's just got like a little temp sign that just says Maloon's office till further notice. He's the norm of your bar, but he also works out of the bar. At this point.
All right. Dragon kind of makes his way over to Shuja, as deftly as he can.
Yeah.
And just like, goes up to Shuja and is like, hey, how do you feel about trying to get everyone like moving this whole thing over to the Bougie Booty, like doing the next set there? You think you can get people there?
Shuja shrugs. He's like, I'm game. Yeah, it's a toss up.
That is perfect Shuja energy. Wow, that's a wild idea. I'm in. Whatever. It's cool. We'll see.
Frond immediately interrupts. Is like, it's for a good cause. It's to help some kid. Wait, what? You're just totally okay. Yeah. Sorry, I was gonna try to convince you, but
amazing.
I mean, it's a toss up. Whether we can actually get people there is a toss up, but I feel like we've been doing well enough to be able to rock on a rep. I'm sure that a lot of the people who are actually putting things on get a little tired of being around a bunch of snooty rich people.
Yeah.
They'll probably make the same amount of money doing it with us.
Yeah, we've got money, right? We do have money, right?
I mean, it's more the people give us money and then we give it to other people, sort of thing. But I think
difference,
it'll be about the same thing.
Yeah, the difference is if you're playing in a tavern, people are spending money in a tavern. This party is an at-cost event that has to be sponsored. At a tavern, regardless of what's going on, people are throwing dollars at booze, at food, at evening companionship and everything. And so any event is there. It's almost like having entertainment should be paid out of the money that is made profitable from various places entertainment play at. But like, and there are certainly taverns in Waterdeep that like tell people that unless 20 people specifically come for them, that they have to pay some base fee to play at those places, but those are not right.
That sounds like it's from a fantasy world.
That it is an absurd thought. The logic doesn't track. It doesn't
make any sense.
Doesn't make any. The moment you think about it for a hot second, you're like, why? Then why would you let what? And then I miss pay to play.
Sounds oddly like exploitation, which is what we're dealing with anyway, huh?
Yeah, you think, but no.
Wow, full circle.
But yeah, nonetheless. So yeah, I mean, like honestly, you like if you already know Shuja because of the amount of money you're being offered to play tonight, which might be a little less than any of the like regular conservatory group community members. But you already are fully aware, based off that money, that at a good night at the Bougie Booty, you could easily cut all of the musicians those checks, essentially, and not even think about it. Be like, yeah, it was popping because people were spending considerably more money. And that's the one thing the Bougie Booty hasn't touched yet. You've dealt with some like government functionaries, some political people, but you haven't been able to get like the kind of mansion district in a little bit of what's a complicated relationship of you're boring and wealthy, come here for entertainment, and so you can feel human again, and see us as almost spectacle. But like at the same time, there's a lot of money to be made in that, and as long as they don't control anything, it's like fine, we'll take your thing. So you do know that like there's also a potentiality that something like this at there might get a crowd that doesn't normally come in, and once they come into the Bougie Booty, some of them going to be coming back on the regular. They're going to become very close friends with the various administrators that make appointments for Chesme's staff and everything.
I mean, the points just add up if I'm thinking about it.
All right.
Plus, maybe if other rich people come to the neighborhood, they would see if the like kids are disappearing. Oh, Shuja. Okay, so, and she like whispers what's going on about the adult kids and this weird fucking place.
Little mild body horror, a little mild like just weird, almost like weird, like imprisonment, but not quite. A little bit of cult, a little bit of body horror, just to make a bunch of kids look like middle-aged people.
Very weird.
And acceptable enough to look at too. That's a big key. They don't make them beautiful, but if they're kind of jacked up little street kids, they fix their faces, make them not unpleasant to view for those that.
Yeah, it's pretty messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, seems that way. I mean,
so
yeah, let's do it.
my question is, Dragon, were you talking about the concert that's supposed to be in about like 50 minutes? Were you talking about just moving that straight, like interrupting the party with this play? Or were you talking about doing a subsequent? Because I need you to know, I am completely open to either strat.
So Dragon's understanding, i.e. my understanding, was that we were talking about this very next thing that was about to happen and interrupting the party for it, because that's how I understood it from the way it was explained to me.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about something else that would be easier to pull off, then let's do that instead.
So the version that that was kind of being set up is that after this evening, right, a successful party at the Mont Blancs, an after party, and then more importantly, if Bougie Booty could somehow supplant the Mont Blancs donation to the conservatory and with a wildly high persuasion check or some role play mechanically done thing, if you could somehow convince Sebastian to name it the like something that's a little bit more branded to the Bougie Booty, so it wasn't the Mont Blanc's music conservatory, but it is like BB's musical conservatory or something like that. Just a little bit, just nudge it a little bit. If you could get them there, the amount of absolute the amount of quite metaphorically unzipping your pants and pissing in the faces of these wealthy people with the thing that they've been donating money to for the past couple decades, and you've not even been in Waterdeep. And you run a brothel / temple / nightclub. That's one. You're not even a franchise. You're not even like Mac Ronald's. Where there's one on every cover.
Everyone loves Mac Ronald's.
Mac Ronald's, the Dwarven Run burger place. Where everyone speaks in a thick Scottish accent. Don't ask me to do it. I'm very bad at them.
Okay. So, I just rolled another insight just to see it. I don't think it's likely that Dragon picks up on like how that should probably be the plan because he's not really one for subterfuge in general. So I'm just gonna.
Where Chesme would be real helpful right now, but instead she's just like, we fucking shit up, and Frond and Dragon are like, I don't know, let's do it.
Yeah, yeah. Dragon's just gonna hope that the others know what they're doing.
All right, so Shuja, you definitely get off the vibe that Dragon is thinking like, fucking absolutely wreck this party tonight by getting people out there. Shuja, can you please roll insight or a wisdom save or some sort of thinky thing? Whatever you feel like will be the highest number you get. Fucking here.
Please save us from ourselves.
No, I want it to happen. As your dungeon mommy, I desperately happen. This is not. I haven't even introduced you to Donald Trump. I mean, Mr. Mont Blanc.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
Hold on, I'm trying to figure out this app. Here we go. Yeah, because the I downloaded D&D Beyond because my computer's being weird again. Okay, here we go.
Did it on your phone? Yep.
16.
All right.
Nice.
All right. So here's the deal. I think that's smart enough as a number for you to know. It is extremely unlikely that they are going to interrupt what is now in 45 minutes show to play at the Bougie Booty. On the other hand, if you could sell it to Sebastian that it was somehow challenging, like that it was more impressive if they moved and possibly did a walking concert, or what you know to just be any old like night of traveling musicianship, what several bards have done. A walking concert where you essentially get into a line, play the pieces and everything like that. Probably not play his piece, play some standards and stuff like that, and walk all the way from the kind of manor district that you're in to Troll Skull Alley, which would be about an hour, and walk them all there. Get everyone that you could possibly do to follow, including the people that are going to want to see this, and say that they participate in that. If you could convince him, that's not even a conversation of whether or not it could be taken badly or spun. It means that it appears that the musicians were unhappy with the accommodations the Mont Blancs had and went to a superior venue at their own potential cost. And again, you know very well that the Bougie Booty could cover the cost. So that's not the conversation. It's more about if you could convince Sebastian to do it, because none of these musicians care at all about the person you were talking to, the other little conversations you have. All of these people, like, these are not who this audience is not who they play for. They play for themselves. They play for people who genuinely are enthusiastic about music, not people that use it for status. And so it would just be about convincing Sebastian. So you could do that, but at a 16, you also know that the safer game would be to just simply finish out the concerts here, talk to Sebastian quietly, get him to untether himself from the Mont Blancs, have the Bougie Booty be the ones that help pay for the conservatory in trade for conservatory musicians playing at the Bougie Booty. They still get paid their normal rates, but like that kind of thing. You know that there's a smarter way about it, but you also know that the thing that would be legendary is the interrupt the party now.
Yeah, and if we do it like that, then like everyone knows that it happened, and so they retaliate. Everyone knows that they retaliated, and maybe that's fine. I don't know. I feel like the more power influence we gain, the safer we'll be. And money, also good for safety.
More money, power, and influence definitely leads to safety. You're right. Love it, Frond. Love it, Frond. So it's really your call, Shisha. You have two doe-eyed people. Chesme is nowhere in sight. God help you. It's really your call. Do you want to go full chaos mode and be like, fuck it, we're just gonna try it the legendary way? Or do you want to go about it the smart way? No judgment either way. I have stuff that I can do for either direction. It's entirely in Chuja's hands now.
Crimes.
Well, Shuja is typically leaning chaotic good, but Shuja also just got paid. And is thinking about how to maximize what the group could potentially go home with on top of like getting everything done.
I feel like if they like completed their like concert and then immediately were like, and now we leave, they've completed what they need to do, but like, so it doesn't make them look bad and you get paid for it. And then we get more money at home.
Yeah, convince people to do the after party methodology.
That's kind of where I was be going with this. Is like let's try to set up an after party. Just communicate it immediately. Like just Shuja thinks about rallying the musicians who's playing with, see if they'd be interested in playing an after party sort of vibe at the Bougie Booty, and then knock out the concert and get out of there. Since it seems like we're not getting very far with getting immediate results and investigating the children thing.
Yeah. It's like you now know what's up, but you don't have any way to resolve it. Kind of thing where it's like, oh, cool. That's terrible. I don't know what to do about it.
Boy, that sucks.
So since it's you, is that what you want to do? Is that the method you want to go forward? Because I'm pretty sure Dragon and Frond, once introduced to a reasonable man, will be like, oh yeah. That sounds right.
Definitely.
I was curious if she's gonna go full chaos or not. A lot of the things that would happen will happen anyway, even if you just go right after the party. You don't know that in character, but I can tell you that as your dungeon mommy. So you're not losing out on some of the chaos. There's much to be had if you get these musicians to play at the Bougie Booty tonight. Even if it's just an informal after party. And so it would just be even more chaotic if you did it before you played the second set for the more playing the first set for like the lower, like the middle class, the middle management crowd, and bouncing before the upper layer actually sees it would have been is an absolute slap in the face. If you do it right afterward, you're definitely not offending any of the audience. That you might be offending your hosts, but you don't really care as much about it. But yeah, I'd say with the 16, it's up to you, Shuja.
Yeah, let's go with play the concert, try to rally an after party.
All right. Once I assume Dragon and Frond are okay with that.
Yeah.
You are, however, Dragon and Fron, fully ushered out of this space by some staff of the household. Are they children? Are they actual adults? You don't know now. But but you are ushered out by them because you are not a musician. There are going to be people in there. You've both got about another hour to kill, hour and a half to kill, hour or so to kill before Shuja would even literally would finish the last note of what the concert you just saw, right? And so you both got about an hour to kill. What do you do with that hour?
Probably grab some drinks and warm up a little bit more.
Warm up. So Shuja, you're doing warm up, you're drinking a little bit, you're loosening up, maybe thinking about it's like, okay, how am I gonna convince Sebastian to roll with us? Because you recognize it's the musicians you need. If you're not playing Sebastian's work, he doesn't need to be there to be the conductor or anything like that. He's not playing anything actively, though you are 100% confident by his hands and his mannerisms that he can play several instruments. Conservatory has decided to join, right? And so drinking, thinking a little bit about that. What about you, Frond? What are you keeping yourself busy with for this little bit of time?
I gotta tell Maxine. Maxine's definitely gonna know the best people to try to get to go. Maxine is in the know, and also be very rude as her guest to not tell her.
Okay, so you go to talk with Maxine. What about you, Dragon?
Probably just hanging out with Frond.
All right, so you're following Frond. You're not specifically. You're not joining Maloon and Broxley and them in the whiskey spot.
All right, you should go with them to see if anything good happens.
Yeah, no, definitely. I totally forgot about Maloon. Dragon goes and finds Maloon and goes to knock a few back with them.
Okay, Frond.
Yes.
Let's start with you and Maxine. So you begin asking around about where Maxine might be. It's a large mansion. There's also a courtyard and a backyard. There's a lot going on. Loud music playing in the distance.
I'm sorry, I have a condition.
That's
what my butt sounds like. I'm so sorry.
You go and then you find out that Maxine is actually in the backyard backyard topiary. And you go out, and the backyard kind of opens up to kind of like a classic, almost like, only because it's so evocative of the accurate image, almost like south of England rolling hillside kind of thing, or north of England rolling hillside kind of thing. Beautifully manicured lawn, rich green hedges, and you would normally not be able to see them because it is definitely evening, but there are so many torches and glowing lamps and lanterns that it definitely feels more like just after dusk when the sky is still kind of mid-blue, like medium blue. It's not quite medium to dark blue. It's not quite
how evocative yet. Are me and Maxine going to kiss?
Man, I mean, no, wasn't going in that direction at all, but
it just sounded so pretty.
If you want it to happen, Maxine might be down. But we'll see what your charisma.
We're too different. I'm a Cancer. She's a Sagittarius. It just wouldn't work.
You're a biped. She's a quadruped. You have feet. She has hooves. It could never. It's a romance that can never be, and it's a main through line of the rest of this campaign. One
of our feet is. One of us has way grosser feet than the other, and I think we all know who it is.
We definitely do. So you can just shave those hooves off, baby. So you go out there and. It takes you a little bit because it's almost weird here. You can hear the kind of quiet conversations of people sitting in small garden benches and gazebos and stuff like that. And you hear a crowd that's cheering. A crowd that's cheering and yelling and laughing and stuff like that. And it's more, the noise of frivolity that you're used to living at the Bougie Booty. And so you you go back there and you see in this circle, you can see the top of Maxine's head, and then you see her rear up and start like kicking her hooves forward, and then just jump back and kick her rear hooves back as you kind of wheedle your way into the crowd. And there, a handlebar mustache, bald, wearing suspenders with no shirt person with leather-wrapped hands is like in a circle of the crowd boxing Maxine. And Maxine is absolutely tearing them to ribbons verbally. They are just absolutely insulting this. It's like, oh, you think you can hurt me just because you have opposable thumbs? You're garbage, you daft man. And this guy is like literally just like Yale 1917 style fisticuffs out, boxing a horse. And you see on the ground, Maxine, can anyone finally beat the champion? Maxine the talking horse. Flyers with various images of, like, hand-drawn images of boxers. It's a boxing match that apparently happens.
What?
You wanted to go to see what Maxine was up to? Maxine gets up to a lot. She's a complicated and multifaceted woman that's also a horse.
Oh my gosh. Maybe I do love Maxine.
So it doesn't take long for Maxine to knock out her opponent. Everyone cheers. A couple people drag him off and put smelling salts under his nose. He's fine. Like, he's definitely got a concussion and several broken ribs, but he'll be
right,
okay.
Of course.
This is a world of magic. He'll be fine and everything. And Maxine has people cheering her on, and she looks around and she spots you, and she's like, "Oh, Frond, I wondered where you got off to. Sorry, I didn't tell you. I have to do these matches every. Well, I don't have to. I need to do it to tolerate the parties. I choose to do the matches. Yeah, it seems like
you enjoy it a lot.
Oh,
actually.
I fucking love hoofing the shit out of guys, right? It's the best.
I heard that about you.
Oh, if I can get them with a back kick, if I can get them, because then they get distance, they get air. I kind of knock them into the crowd. Crowd loves it and everything. How you doing? And you can see that Maxine has probably been like punched several times, but like it starts to make you consider, how do you fight a horse boxing? Yeah. Like, what's the play?
I can't imagine.
What's the play? Their necks are strong, their chests are strong, their heads are big. Is there a way to beat a horse boxing?
It feels like a loser's game, honestly.
Oh, it
doesn't
certainly
seem
is.
Like it's effective. That's very foolish.
But they think every year they can get me, and every year I just beat the crap out of some guys, and then people give me money.
Absolutely wild.
Yeah.
Is this like, do you make a lot of money this way?
Oh yeah, I do it for the passion, right? That's what you got to do.
Right.
If you're doing what you love, you don't work a day in your life. What I love is beating the shit out of gross men.
Right, hoofing men.
Hoofing, absolute full double hoofing men. When it comes to this, I make a fair amount of money at it. Especially because there's always an influx of new people to Waterdeep, and they're like, I've fought all these kinds of monsters, I've fought all these kinds of terrible and scary things, and it's like, yeah, but have you fought someone that's a sentient horse that can study human movement and understands the art of combat?
Have you fist fought a sentient talking horse?
And the answer is no. There's not a lot of us.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think it's a sentient talking horse, and it's just a combination of like a horse minotaur, where it's a horse head and a human body, and a regular centaur that's horse body, and so it's just like a recessive gene. It's just a double recessive gene, and it's just a centaur minotaur mix. And
so rare, so beautiful.
So it truly, but like not my vibe because they can't speak. I really need the thing to speak. So it's either centaurs or that have like a horse fetish, and then that's a problem.
I came out here for a reason.
Oh,
besides to check on you, and make sure you were good.
Of course.
So okay. So, and she like tells them about the little kids.
Yeah.
Because Maxine's cool.
Yep.
And we're trying to figure it out. But until then, we're gonna we want to, after the last performance of the musicians, we're going to get them to come to the Bougie Booty. And so then everyone will come to the Bougie Booty and give us their money and their power and their influence.
So you're looking to do a little social coup at this soiree. I love it. I love this for you,
Yes.
Frond. I love this. Like, this is totally viable from Chesme and from Shuja, and I'm sure Dragon is probably fine with it. All right, all right. So do you is there anything I can do to help? Is there anything that are you just checking in with me to let me know like what you're up to since you're my +1?
Oh, well, Maxine, you're big and famous, so I just want you to come and have a good time.
All right, all right. Fran, give me a D20 roll. You're rolling for Maxine. But I'd rather have you roll than me.
Okay.
Just tell me what the raw number is.
Oh man, it's just a 5.
All right. Okay. Do you need anything like need me to, I don't know, beat someone up or a cat guy?
I've never seen a parade.
Oh, it's like it's honestly it's usually really boring because it's just like a line of people moving in the same direction. And sometimes they make large they make large wheeled apparatus and they decorate those, but it's just really just still a very slow moving procession, almost like a funeral procession. But it's a parade.
Oh.
It's to celebrate something.
Got it.
But yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That'd probably be Shuja because he's really good at playing music, and so then everyone will come with him.
Yeah,
We'll find out something funny.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Okay. Well. When are you planning? When are you planning to get this going? Is it
right after the next performance?
Okay. Okay. Maxine like looks over at some woman that is dressed a little bit more lavishly than one would think someone who was watching this event would be dressed for, and it's like, Courtney, go up to the house, and when it sounds like the second music performance is wrapping up, run down here and let me know so that I can meet up with my friends. Can you do that for me, sweetheart? And Courtney just like nods and just kind of smiles and winks and runs off. And she's like, great. Is there anything else? Do you want to go a couple rounds with someone in here? I can have you guest box someone. Not me. I'm not gonna box you, but like you could knock out most of these guys, I'm sure.
I mean, I can turn into a horse, and then I could do it. And then what if we had 2-on-2 fight? 2 horses, 2 people.
Ooh.
You know what? I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you wild shape into a horse?
Of course I wild shape into a horse.
All right, we're gonna. I love this, and we're gonna fade away from it.
Yeah.
Give me just an attack roll with advantage since you've got Maxine at the side. Just like what you would normally roll to attack people as a horse.
As a horse. Okay, let me see what the draft horse.
You can give me raw numbers first before you worry about modifications.
Okay. Well, a draft horse has a +6 to hit.
All right, so +6. So D20 with advantage. And then add 6, and we'll see.
Roll them beautiful beans. I rolled a nat 20.
Oh!
I rolled a nat 20.
All right, so just to make sure that we don't miss it, several minutes go by. And Maxine was right. It is great to like kind of rear donkey kick people because they just lift up off the ground, and it's like you're just lobbing them.
Air.
At first it was 2-on-2, then it was 4-on-2, then it was 12-on-2, and you and Maxine, it's like you're dancing partners together,
going back
just
to back,
beautifully back to
haunch to haunch,
flank to flank, like hoofing the fuck out of people. You genuinely in a moment have a deep emotional understanding of what it must be like when Dragon really just nails someone with that anchor, or when Shuja just like plunges a blade into someone. Frond, I don't think you tend to transform into like clawing and gnashing things, and you tend to focus a lot on survival. But in this moment, this is what it feels like to be powerful and bigger than everyone around you, and nobody can touch you. You can just knock them away as much as you want.
I am. She is higher than a beetle could get her.
Higher than a beetle.
Pure ecstasy.
Yeah. Pan over to Dragon. Dragon, you're down in like what feels like a basement, even though you know it can't be a basement because it's on like the second floor. But it's got like that low roof, and it's kind of smoky, and there's wood. It's real wood, but for our visual imagery to put you in the right space, it's wood paneling on the walls, and there's not like a lot of tall windows. There's like a lot of short windows that look like they're just above the dirt. Again, you're on the second floor. It doesn't make any sense. And so you're definitely in someone's man cave, essentially. And you've got a bar. Maloon's there. Broxley's there. A lot of the people that you saw from the cigar room, but a lot of other people are there too, including some more kind of like younger, usually, probably people in their teens and early 20s, probably the children of money, but definitely some younger people in this audience, of people doing challenges. And Maloon's like, let's, good to, sees you, kind of waves you over and everything like that. It's like, Dragon, how iron is your stomach?
I've been known to toss a few back with the saltiest of sailors out on the high seas.
Okay, well, we'll see if you can handle what those of us in the bureaucracy of Waterdeep handle. I realize that doesn't sound like a threat, but we need anything to make us feel alive, so it is quite the challenge.
I follow you.
Yeah, you have travel and adventure. I have endless paperwork, and so whatever makes me feel something. Let's get Dragon in on the round, and Dragon, well traveled, right? You've eaten various kinds of food. Do you feel like Dragon would be good with spice, bad with spice? There's no rank. Good with spice. All right.
It's lightning. So
yeah, that's true. That is true. So you see what they're doing. Eats lightning and craps thunder. Dragon.
That doesn't sound much different from Rich Mullins. There's thunder in his footsteps and lightning in his fist. Our God is an awesome God.
So true. So true.
So that song is so long.
Line up all the shots. I think of our God as an awesome God almost praise.
Me?
It's because of that, like the moment that like I heard a choir do it, I'm like, I hate the message, but this melody slaps, and it just does. It's just a powerful melody.
It was on like Cartoon Network, like as one of the like get this CD. I don't know why. Maybe it was like the late night.
Yeah, an infomercial. I was about like a cartoon on Adult Swim late at night that busts our God is an awesome God. Like absolutely slaps it. Would be the wildest anime dub I have ever heard. Like, and next on Trigun, our God is an awesome God. That guy got real weird in the later episode.
He reigns.
And then they're just shooting guns. But anyway, what they're loading up is there's a bunch of people sitting around circular tables and leaning on bars and stuff like that. But what they're loading up is 3 shot glasses. In each shot glass is a whole pepper. So they're like double shot. A whole spicy pepper. One is white, one is red, and one is green. In that pepper is not all on its own. That pepper is sitting in a fluid. That fluid at first looks like it's probably liquor. You're like, oh, I'm sure this is like liquor, like a backer or like a little flavor quencher. And then you notice that fluid is definitely not just like water, like watery fluid. It like hard alcohol would be. It's much more of like a jelly or a jam.
Oh, I'm concerned.
I don't like where this is
and
going.
Broxley is like, yeah, man, you line up, you do them in whatever order you want, and make sure not to touch your eyes after you touch the peppers. You swallow
No,
the pepper,
whatever order
and then
you
you
want is so concerning.
and then you do the little jelly shot. The jelly is actually made specifically from the pepper that it's in. That's what really gets you. And then and then you see if you don't have any side effects. Nothing bad. No one's gonna like going to the hospital. Well,
just checking. Is there alcohol in this, or is this just like purely a dare?
Is there alcohol in it? And Maloon's like, Maloon looks back at Broxley. It's like, I don't know, but it fucks me up. It's. I wouldn't know if it's. I don't think it's alcohol, but it's definitely an inebriant. How's that?
Capsaicin will fuck you up.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah.
But that is indeed that is not the only thing. But yeah, if you go this round, then you go to the next round, and that's only 2. One is purple and one is orange, and they are unnatural looking, and that is terrifying. And then the last one is just a pure. It's not been cooked, but it looks like it's burnt, and that is the worst one. If you can get to that one, then you get to collect a bunch of money from everyone around here that's put the money in the pool.
All right.
That's how we do it.
We love making money.
That's how we do it.
Yeah. As soon as he hears that, like, he's like, "Oh, that's the point." Okay.
Dragon. So do you sit down and join in this?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
You don't even you go to like put into the pool because there's like a 50 dragon pool. Having your name also be the name of the currency in Waterdeep just makes me happy every time. There's a 50 gold piece pool. And everything. And Maloon's
Gotta be dragon to make dragons.
Gotta be dragon to make dragons. And Maloon's like, no. We got this. It's your first one. We don't know if you're just gonna be out first round and everything. And so they put it in because they don't know if you can handle the spicy food. All right. It is important to me. There is again red, there is white, and there is green in front of you. You get to choose whatever order you take them in. Red, white, or green. Red, white, or green. Whatever order you want them in. But I need to know the order. And I need to confirm that you will eat the thing and then shoot the jello. Or jelly. It's not jello.
So concerning.
All right.
And you see other people doing this. You're not like the first up and everything. People are just sitting down and trying this. And you see some people take them all, and like they obviously don't love it, but like they're fine. And then you see some other people after like the second one take it all and or stop, and then just like no. Or someone who almost got all 3 peppers and did the first 2, but couldn't get that last jelly shot down.
Okay. Dragon's like, do I have to go right away, or can I take a moment? Alrighty. That is 21 perception.
Beautiful.
Hell yeah.
All right, I'm gonna give you an advantage. If you go white last, the people that seem to have passed the most, are like finished all 3 of them and done them, have chosen white last. You are also 100% sure there is magical effects on this, but nothing that visibly shows off. Nobody seems to go into tongues or anything like that. Nobody seems that phased by it, right? And so there's definitely a sense of magic happening here, but nothing that seems like it's going to be significant enough for you to even see it as like a little like arcane Mickey where you'd get really blurry eyed and dizzy. Like not even close to that. At least at this phase. But yeah, definitely white last, and be prepared that some sort of magical effect will happen.
Okay. Dragon just goes for it then. He goes green, red, white.
Green, red, white. I need you in this order to roll me a charisma saving throw, a wisdom saving throw, and then a constitution saving throw.
Okay. All right, so 18 charisma,
Beauty.
13 wisdom, 9 constitution.
All right, you quickly discover, because I assume you move through them real quick. Pepper, jelly,
Yep.
pepper, jelly, pepper, jelly. Just get through them. So the charisma saving throw, you save against something. Save against something that like feels like the lightest of spells. Very similar, honestly, to the kind of charisma spell that you had when you were in, like, feeling it come off the music when you were at the concert, where it doesn't feel like it's really aggressively trying to charm you. It feels like it's trying to encourage you to like what's happening, right? And everything like that. And you're like, okay, that must be all over this party. Where they're just like, we're not confident we can make people have a good time. Let's drug them up a little bit and say that they had a better time than they did. The second one, the wisdom saving throw, that was about, or that you don't know what it's about. You did save from it. You feel like it might have been something about memories or something like that, but you're not really sure. Maybe something like preferences or favorites, but you saved against it, so you don't really know what it is. And then the last one, the Constitution saving throw, which is on the white pepper, that is the one that you most know why you needed to take white last, is because in failing that, you are 100% confident that the next thing you put into your mouth, will taste like someone poured, pure petroleum or oil into your mouth. It is going to taste awful. It's going to be, just thinking about it, letting your mind drift on it too much makes you begin to like retch a little bit, but or like heave a little bit, not fully retch. But like heave.
Do they have like a trench or like buckets or anything?
Oh yeah, there's buckets everywhere. And then they even have things. They have bread. They have like milk and stuff like that. Like, it's a spice challenge. And so you quickly realize going into it, it's like you eat one thing, it's gonna taste like petrol. You cannot get away from that. The moment you get to the next thing, it doesn't taste like that. So you just like, you get something in your mouth, spit it out.
Power through that one thing.
Yeah, that one thing, spit it out. And there are some people that just couldn't do that, and that's why white had to be last. Because if you didn't succeed at that, and you had to then put a super spicy pepper in your mouth, you're not continuing. So you've passed the first round.
Literally anything that I put in my mouth, could I just real quick stick my finger in my mouth?
Yeah.
And then that, would that be against the spirit of the competition? Would I get disqualified?
Nope.
Okay, so Dragon just puts his finger in his mouth real quick to get the taste part done.
Broxley leans over to Maloon and says, plenty loud for everyone to hear, does he have like a gagging fetish or something like that? That felt sensual, didn't it? And Maloon's like, it was definitely sensual. It was definitely sensual. And the group laugh, and you recognize some of these faces from there. But even like the wealthier people here, since they're younger, they're looser, right? Like their cravats are looser, their vests are unbuttoned, they've untucked their doublets, if you will, and but yeah, like, and so it is. This very much feels like a sailing ship or a seaside tavern or any other number of places where people collect and just enjoy each other's company and make them do stupid humanoid tricks for the pure sake of stupid stupid humanoid chicks. The second ones, the orange and the purple, come out. You don't have to roll for it. You can smell these from a distance. They are significantly worse. Your sinuses tingle ever so lightly at it. Not in a painful way, but in a, hey bro, I sense that my survival instinct says danger, and you had to do that. Because you succeeded, I'm not going to make you roll for it again. You're able to kind of glance around and judge kind of what's going on with other people. Doesn't seem to matter which order it is. Most people take one of these, get the jelly of the first pepper shot up to their lips, and then absolutely do not complete finishing the jelly or any other part of it. And it seems to not be like leaning in a direction of purple or orange. You are also confident that there is some sort of magical effect on you.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit stronger, but still arguably sub-cantrip. Like very minor stuff. No one's casting anything to do anything real serious.
Yeah. Okay.
And so orange or purple? I need to know the order first.
I guess orange first.
Orange first, all right.
Yeah.
If you're doing orange first, I need you to do a dexterity save on orange, and then I need you to do a intelligence save on purple.
Oh boy. Oh no.
Oh.
All right, so that's a 13 dex.
Okay.
And then a 1 on int. I rolled a 2, so it's not a nat 1, but I have a -1 on int. So
Thank you so much, Aaron. Thank you so much. So you just slide by. You can feel a little bit of sluggishness from the orange. So what you suspect is by having the orange first. You suspect that the people that had the orange first really struggled because it kind of began to slow down for you. And not in like a you move through time like molasses. But just long enough so that even if you quickly try to swallow the pepper, it allows you, and the jelly, it just feels like it's in your mouth for longer because it is for like a little bit. It just slows your reflexes enough for you to be like, you know how you can like guzzle a drink back and you can just like throw it back to the back of your throat and then kind of drink from there, and then, or you can fill your mouth first with it once and then swallow that.
Oh
it
yeah,
changes it from
Dragon's
one to the
definitely
other.
trying to like toss it all the way back.
Of course you are. It's a spicy food contest. That's what you're supposed to do. And everything. You just get it back there and you're like, man, that would have been way worse if I had not fought that urge to hold it in my mouth for a little bit. But the purple one, I'm going to have to narrate this in third person objective. Dragon,
oh dear.
What is your int ability score right now?
Right now. Oh no. 8.
Concerned.
8. So you're already sub 10. You're already taking a -1 on those int saves. We're shaving off 2 more, buddy. You're at a 6. It's temporary. You are confident it's temporary. It's arguably the only thing you're confident about. But unfortunately, Dragon, you're mentally not very aware, which of course explains it. For the rest of our players as audience, what we see as the audience, as we pan out, is a gentleman. We'll call it a dash, a very coiffed dash of light golden straw hair, moving around the head almost like a frozen yogurt poured out of a machine, like pumped out of a machine. Comes in with oversized jacket, blousey pants, a blousey doublet, and a much too large cravat. Comes in, walking in. The mood changes. Dragon, you're not aware of this. You are at a 6 intelligence. You're not completely incapable of communication or anything. You're just going to focus and you're dealing with the spices. And so, when this...
Dragon just forgot how to add.
When this... Yeah, you're just like, oh, it's fucking... You're too busy, like, really trying to focus.
He's peppered out.
Yeah, but you did pass that round, so they are going to put the black one in front of you. I'll get there in a moment. You get there, and you feel a hand, a very tiny hand, like a small, almost like a child's hand. But it's not. It's a full-grown adult man's hand. Not frond. You turn and look. An orange... like or a completely orange sort of like skinned half orc looks at you in this like finery that's a little bit oversized. They should be bulkier. They look older, like middle-aged to later aged. They look older. They should be bulkier. Their clothes imply that they should fill them out more, or maybe they used to when they were younger, but these clothes don't seem old. They sit down and the person's like, oh, another new challenger. to my party. I hope you're enjoying yourself, buddy, because no, Steve is not going to do a Donald Trump.
Thank you.
Ever need to hear it in
That's
my
a
life
step
again.
Too far.
That is more traumatizing than mutilating children. Anyway,
Jesus.
slaps your shoulder and is like, always glad to see someone enjoy the various offerings we have at the Mont Blanc estate. I don't think I've had the pleasure of your acquaintance. My name is Samuel Mont Blanc. And then he reaches his tiny hand, and it is small. To you, it's when I say it's a small hand, I mean it's the kind of small hand where it's not like, oh, you have slightly small hands. It is a hand where it's a frond hand on a full 6 foot tall person. That's what it is. It's a frond hand on a 6 foot tall person.
All right, Dragon shakes his hand,
and it's
he's like, eh.
What's your name? What's your name, buddy?
Dragon?
Pleasure to have
What's
you,
your
Dragon. I am Samuel Mont Blanc. I am glad that you've enjoyed it. You know, it's surprising. I don't meet a lot of people that haven't met me, but, you know, it's fine. And, again, for us, the audience, we all see, like, Maloon just, like, sighs and rolls his eyes and scoots, kind of, like, leans away. Broxley is gone. You don't know where Broxley went, and everything. And
Holy
pepper?
fucked off.
what?
Want a pepper?
And Samuel Blanc, I always like to join in the final round. I is the pool, and he looks over at Balloon. The pool still on? I'll put in a little bit of money, and he puts in 50 gold. Now, this person has this entire mansion, and even at 6 intelligence, you're like, I feel like you could put in more money than that.
Yeah.
That feels like everyone else is putting in like a 10 or a 20 in modern day times, and you're like, here's $2. But here's $1. But nonetheless, puts in money into the pool, and he sits down across from you. You're the only two people that are being served black pepper. You look at this man's face, this orange half-orc's face. His teeth have been filed. They are filed down. He does not have the token underbite of the orcish heritage in any way, shape, or form. His face is half-orc, but it feels... There's nothing inherently wrong with anyone wearing whatever kind of aesthetic makeup that they want. There's no, like, gender conversations about that in Waterdeep. Every society does, like, paint or makeup or face paint and stuff like that. But his feels like it's been poorly applied. Whatever it's going for, you don't know. It's definitely not professionally well done. But no one seems to be saying anything, and you're only a 6. So maybe you make your choices there. But the black pepper is also in front of you, and in front of him. There's 2 of them. One for you and one for him. Do you want to, like, suss this out? Because no one else is having a black pepper. It's Dragon and it's Samuel Mont Blanc sitting across from each other. The host and the new guest.
All there is to do is to just take the shot and do the pepper, right?
I mean, you could look at it. You could give it a glance. You can see that he's kind of playing with it in his fingers a little bit. A little dangerous, but...
Well, I mean, I don't see that there's anything. Either I'm able to take it or I'm not. So no real need to
full risk.
Look at it.
All right.
He's Dragon's just like maintaining eye contact.
Maintaining eye contact, and he
basically trying to like psych him out.
Give me
playing cards or whatever.
Give me an insight check, but give it to me with disadvantage because you're into a 6.
Yeah. All right, that's a 9. 9 insight.
It's a 9. He looks like he looks like he's challenging you back. That's pretty good with disadvantage. But he looks like he's challenging you back. You put that pepper in your mouth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dragon, give me a strength saving throw.
Oh boy. Well, good thing that's my best. Ooh, nat 20, baby.
A nat 20?
Yep. 24
Oh.
total.
All right. This, since
But
you
eye
didn't,
contact maintained the whole
you
time.
didn't pay attention to
Dumb
it.
as a post.
Yeah, the DC was 20 for this too, so that 20 was
Ooh.
really useful.
Nice.
This, since you didn't pay attention to it, did indeed have a significant magic spell. It was a weakening effect that dropped your strength score down by 5 points. Your ability temporarily until a long rest, right? You would have been fine long term, but by 5 points, anyone would feel significantly weakened. The average person would damn near pass out if they had this, right? An adventurer's definitely much stronger, but you would feel the difference, right? 5 significant points and everything. You eat this thing, it tastes terrible. It is bad to the taste. It is way too spicy.
Dragon doesn't let any of this show on his face.
But you got an at 20. You're fine. You're chewing it like a king, right? You're just like, it's fine. Fine. You watch him put it in his mouth. He sits there. He grimaces and then grunts and swallows. Give me another insight check on this.
I'm sorry. Just he puts it in his mouth.
Grimaces, grunts, and swallows. I heard it.
All right. Insight, you said?
Yep.
All right. That is. Oh, come on. I swear to God, it rolled on my screen and it froze on 16, and I thought it landed on 16. I was like, yes, 20. And then it like unfroze and it landed on 3.
Fuck.
So yeah, 7.
All right, so this guy seems like he's a pretty big badass, and you may not want to mess with him because he just ate that pepper. You know you're a badass, and he ate the pepper just like you. He flinched a little bit, but like he still took it, right? And so, again, from Dragon's perspective, don't really have this, but for the audience's perspective, you hear it cheering. It's definitely more muffled than everything had been up until that point, because it's obviously a half-hearted thing. And Samuel gets up and is like, well, seems like we have a real challenger here, a real hardy Waterdeep. You might not have been born here, but you've got Waterdeep in your veins, I can tell. Here's the deal. I know that we should split the pot, but honestly, I don't need it. And aren't you the gentleman that runs the church?
The Church of Poseidon?
Yeah,
yes.
The Temple of Poseidon, whatever you call your faith.
Yeah.
Consider it a donation, my half of the even split winnings to you. You can have all the prize money. I, of course, can challenge the next person next year. And then he kind of looks around, even to the point where you notice, where he kind of pauses, and in your head, somewhere in the distance, maybe it's a multiplanar thing, maybe it's Poseidon reaching out to you, you hear the phrase, please clap, and then people clap. People clap, and Samuel Montblanc is like, thank you, I'm going to be making my way down to the concert. The conservatory, again, as always, one of the only times you can hear any of their original works. You boys have fun up here. And then he walks out, kind of constantly glancing in every direction. Dragon, you are at a 6 int. You're fine otherwise. Your mouth is on fire. You need like milk and bread and citrus and stuff like that to help it, but like it's normal spicy, like you're not taking or anything like that. And you, in that kind of haze and everything, you feel like Maloon clapping and Broxley like suddenly reappeared the moment Samuel was gone, and everything, and the liveliness comes up and everything, and then you see a bunch of people stand up and begin to move tables and chairs around and make kind of a big area, and you realize this is actually quite a large room, and a number of them are putting on what looks like to be belts at first, and then maybe some sort of like crotch necklace codpiece like thing, Like there's no way to explain it. It's kind of like a necklace, and then there's like a little flag that dangles from it. And Maloon's like, "You in for a little nut tap? Capture the flag." Um, and and, uh, and go on.
That laugh is Dragon's actual reaction to it. He's like, fuck it, why not?
Why not? I mean, you're drunk on. You do feel. You do genuinely feel drunk. Like
I'm drunk on peppers and victory.
Peppers and victory. Like you're not
Classic.
alcohol drunk, but you are definitely drunk.
Yeah. When in Waterdeep.
Shuja, the you know that you've got about 10 minutes before the performance, right? Sebastian is sort of gearing up. Everyone's sort of gathered and everything. If you're gonna get them to leave before the to leave right after the performance to do an after party, you want this to move smoothly. You don't know what the protocol is after the performance is done and everything. So if you're gonna convince Sebastian and the musicians to do kind of a march back to the bougie booty and everything, now would be the time. And you see Sebastian is just gonna is kind of flipping through the music and everything at his podium. The other musicians are like just
well, I think it would make the most sense as we're gathering is just to hit the section leaders and just tell them that there's another performance opportunity at a place that I co-own that they may have heard of at this point, called the Bougie Booty, and we're going to throw an after party, an unofficial after party for this event. Anyone who wants to play and make some extra money and have a much better time playing is welcome to come.
For the section leaders, for any of the musicians you talk to, you don't have to roll anything. All of them are like, yeah, it's not that late, and we love making extra money, and yeah, we'd much rather play at a tavern, brothel, church. Than
That's something for everyone.
I mean, for all those musicians, they're just waiting, chomping at the bit to get to "Our God is an awesome God."
Awesome God, he reigns.
That's every night at the Bougie Booty. Dragon demands that you play that song. Anyway, and then just hoses people down with salt water. Nonetheless, so yeah, none of the musicians are doing it. They're 100% down. Regardless of what happens, all of the musicians will follow you. That is not the question. The question is, can you get the person that's in charge of the conservatory to go with you? Because though he will add literally nothing to this, you probably won't be playing any of his music and everything. If he comes, that's the status play. That's the insult on the injury of it, because though the conservatory is a number of musicians and has this reputation, its figurehead is, and so you'll get more wealthy people coming with you and stuff if this guy doesn't. But all of the musicians are like, yeah, no, that is absolutely what we're doing afterward. Then you're inviting us and you're saying that you're willing to give us any kind of money, and we're in.
Can I attempt to convince him to come?
Yeah, Sebastian, he's just sitting there, like he's going over his notes. He's like, "What do you need? What do you want? What do you want?" Suja, by the way, amazing playing last time. Just repeat that. Will be fantastic. Great work. Super tight. I'm impressed. I need you to know that. But what do you want?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. So, what if I told you that my business partners and I at the venue that I co-own, the Bougie Booty down the road, would be willing to host an unofficial after party and have this group play at it, and we'd be able to cover the musicians' expenses and cut conservatory donation out of some of our profits.
Never let it for a non-profit to ever turn away money. I don't know though. I'm just this is the space that I wrote this music for, so like none of my music will work in a different space. I'd have to suss out the space and then write a different composition for that particular venue for it to sound harmonically like I want. So like that's fine and all. If you want to do that, that's great. After this performance, I was just gonna go back to the conservatory But I know you're new enough that you may not know how it works. The musicians can do what they want and everything like that. If you're interested, you can come meet me someday later at the conservatory. And it's not that he seems like he's fighting this or passionate. It's very clear he doesn't understand that you would want him to join you. That would matter to you. Because of the kind of person he is.
Okay. Well, I know that this is something that is become a bit routine for you as far as making sure that it works annually at this event.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that you understand how seriously the people who play for you have to take playing for you in order to execute it properly, right?
Of course, only the most talented could play this. Like, I don't write it down for anyone else. Like I don't dumb it down for people. Right? You're either talented enough to play it or you're not, and that's it.
So just if you wouldn't mind bearing with me for a minute, just try to consider how much it would mean to the people who play for you, who go in and make sure that this really works from an execution standpoint instrumentally, how much it would mean to them to have you participate with something after hours with them just this once, especially after performing at an event of this magnitude. And that being said, I'd like to ask, what would it take for you to come to something like that? Because the donation aspect for the conservatory doesn't really make sense if the person who started and runs the conservatory isn't there.
Give me an insight check real quick based off the things you just said.
Okay, let me find this again. Where is it? Ah, here we go. It is again a 16.
Very solid. When you start talking about insight, or when you start talking about the having the conservatory, what would it take, and then more specifically the donations, and like it only making sense if the person's there for the donations. You notice him. You notice just a brief moment of his jaw kind of tensing, flexing at that, but it passes really quickly. On a 16, that's about what you got. It doesn't seem like he was super in love with the idea that you initially offered donations to the conservatory, and then we're like, oh, but I want you to be there, and it only makes sense for us, the donations, to do that. And I don't think that you know exactly why that bothered him, because it doesn't seem like it's the same sort of glaze over that you see in musicians' eyes when people are negotiating pay with them. That's a different thing. Every musician on the planet is familiar with that thing. It's something else, and you kind of get a hint that it's like, oh, this might not be that, and everything. Give me a with a 16 insight. I'm going to give you this moment to possibly play off what they feel about something matters, because they have earned the belief that it could matter, from me at least. But like, I don't know if anyone actually I appreciate that you're being nice, we just met, but I don't know if anyone actually wants me there. And with an insight, you're pretty sure that they would. You're on the right track. That they would actually very much be appreciated. You're pretty sure the musicians would want them there. But he does not believe that is the case.
Do I still need to roll a persuasion check?
So you can roll a persuasion check, but I gave you that bit of knowledge. You can
Okay.
do something about that before you roll the persuasion check, or you can just roll the persuasion.
Okay. I understand why you might be a bit dismissive of anybody wanting to see you in a space that isn't related to work or professional performance, but I wouldn't be asking you to attend if there wasn't a really strong sense um, that the musicians who play for you are would
This is
like
how
for
he
you
looks
to be
at
there. Would like for you to
Really
be
pushing
there.
my lazy eye off on this one too. And he uses, all right, give me your persuasion roll, but give it to me with advantage.
It's an 8.
It's an 8.
Ooh.
He looks at you and he goes, okay, in order to get the donation, I will show up for a bit at the beginning, but then I will leave. I'm not going to, you invited me. I'm sure that like no one will be bothered if I'm there for a bit, and then they can all cut loose and do things. But if it gives us money, if you're willing to give us a decent chunk of money for the conservatory, again, I put that in front of everything. So I'll come. Are we doing it right afterward? Like, are you thinking performance then right to your spot? Is that what we're doing?
Yes, we're gonna try to get over there and get it going as quickly as possible once the performance is done.
All right, so we'll get that going, and then I'll go with you on the march there and everything like that, and then I'll head out to the conservatory after I've been seen. Is that good? Will that be enough to, like, I'll say hi to a couple people, and then you'll gotten that portion? Will that still proof for that? And there's
That sound.
go on.
Go ahead.
No, you go on.
That sounds great, and I really appreciate your willingness to show up. We'll make that work.
All right. If I can switch them through the camera lens. There we go. There. Okay. I'll definitely, yeah, I can do that. And you can see in a bit of a smile on his way out, like on his way back to his papers and everything like that before you have to get back and properly warm up. You can see that he cynically smiles, but in a little bit of a thicker emotion than cynicism. A little bit of the actual kind of like melancholy and mild sadness that cynicism comes from. In like the briefest thing before he starts walking up to some of the other musicians like he did before the last performance and was like checking on them, making sure that there's like, I know you played it last time. He doesn't do it to everybody. He just does it to the people that you yourself noticed played well, excellently, arguably, but definitely were hustling the hardest to keep up versus the people who literally looked like they were, literally looked like they were doing a hand fidget task without any thought and everything. But you do get your Sebastian there based more on the statements than you said than your dice rolls for at least a little bit to do that. We are going to leave Shuja and Sebastian and the musician as the music begins to play. As I said, you're not going to have to re-roll for this. And next session, we will talk about who was important and who you talked for. You start playing the It's Corn TikTok meme. From Shmo Yoho again. 10 years later, still Shmo Yoho, memeing up the internet. And we're going to cut to 2 horses that have a circle of knocked out, unconscious bodies around them.
Yeah. 2 powerful best friend horses.
Two best friend horses. You've been out here for a bit. You see eventually a young woman that was told to come get Maxine when the music was winding down. or getting closer to ending. She returns and smiles, and she looks at you, and she looks at you, and it's like, "Oh, Maxine, you made an. Is this like a relative or something, or is that?" And Maxine's like, "I'm not related to every horse. I don't know how many times I have to tell you. This is my friend Front."
Oh yeah, so I can't talk when I'm a horse, but I can speak into people's minds.
Yep,
So
go for it.
Fran just like looks majestically
I think her name was Candace.
over at Candace and goes like, "Hello, Candace. It is me, Front."
Candace smiles real big, and for a brief moment, Frond, you reset Candace, who's in this very kind of like nice outfit, this nice attire and everything. You then reframe Candace into someone who is wearing maybe more of like a duster jacket and like canvas pants into high knee-high boots. And you realize that Candace is quite literally an adult woman form of a horse girl, with her side pony kind of like nicely tucked away. And maybe there's something between her and Maxine. Unclear. Maxine certainly doesn't seem to acknowledge it. She calls multiple people sweetie. But Maxine looks over at Front and is like, "Are we both staying horses? Are we just gonna double horse for the evening? I'm down to double horse."
Yes. What is double horse? I can be like this for an hour. But she only says that into her head, Maxine's head.
Maxine's head, and she laughs and she's like, "Well, stick with me, because most normal horses aren't allowed inside, but they know me, and so if you're with me, they'll be like, oh, that's Maxine's horse friend, because they don't understand that normal horses can't communicate like we can, and so they for some reason think it would be like if like a human hung out with like a. I guess humans do kind of make friends with every animal plant they possibly can and talk to them about it. Bad example. Anyway, it's ridiculous.
It's like a spider with a frog. Wait, I don't understand.
A spider with a frog. Maybe you can turn me into a frog and you can be a spider. Let's go, Frog.
One day.
And she kind of like laughs as she kind of leads you up there.
Frond canters. She's into it.
Shuja, you're getting toward the end of your performance. You've in moments where people have put things down, and as people were being seated as well, that kind of aqua species person that was talking to you earlier has been pointing out very specific people who, like I said, next session will be there. Dragon, it's a good day. Honestly, this is Dragon's day so far. You found out some unsettling stuff, but you knew that there was unsettling stuff here. You found out that there was but you found a cigar room. You found Maloon and Broxley and people you knew. You had that conversation. You got to see Shuja perform. You got to hear music you've never heard before. You cast a spell. Should have been a problem. Ended up getting out of it. Then you joined a hot pepper contest, and you met the head of the house, who seemed like a perfectly congenial guy. And everything. So like,
not too bad.
It's not been a bad night. Like, honestly, you're like, if this was what wealth class was everywhere, you'd be like, maybe this wouldn't be like the worst, right? It just seems to be like people that want to have a good time. And they just have a bunch of money to do it. But you know
and they
that
just have some horrible
the
servants.
The horrible servants, is a problem that must be addressed. But as far as you know, you're like you've met a lot more wealthy people with a lot more skeletons in their closet than this. You have to deal with this problem. It's unacceptable. But at the end of the day, you're like, well, it's not that this is good. It's just that I was prepared for it to be. That being said, as you get up from your table, and remember, 6 intelligence until you have a long rest, my friend. 6 intelligence until you get that sleepy buys and get back to just a -1. You feel something in like one of your robe pockets as someone kind of clearly pats it, and you can hear like paper being kind of rustled when you pass it. You're not quick enough to like look around to where that came from, but you get a piece of like a note kind of secretly filtered to you. as you're kind of moving forward, knowing that some of the people that were in the wealthier category that were hanging out here left a little bit to go see that concert, knowing that you're about to head out with Shuja and Frond and them and Maxine. And in theory, Chesme, if you can find it. But you get a little note that's kind of handed off to you in your pocket.
All right. Dragon makes note of the note, but actually, hold on. Let me just roll a quick insight, see if he has the presence of mind to not just pull it out and read it there. That's a 7, so.
Nope. I wouldn't say so.
Why did I leave you alone to become a horse?
Dragon tries to act nonchalant, at least, as he's like, let me check this shopping list that I
shopping list that I have because I shop.
And so on the note is something very.
Did you say eggs?
Eggs.
Eggs.
On the note is a very simple, a very simple thing, which is the other thing that you were here at this party for, wrapped up in the children's side. You'd been invited because of your business. You were wrapped up in the child side of things. There's another person that wanted you to do something as party. A recent ally, a privateer of sorts with a large community of ships named Sarlaxel that wanted to issue you. And it is now, reasonably so, it's probably like 9-10 p.m. Party's, in theory, supposed to go quite late. It's going to be diminished, as you know, very soon by your own machinations. The note simply says, if you would please hand this parchment, this very exact parchment that you're holding in your hands, the Lady Mont Blanc, and give her a nod and mention that your favorite flower is roses.
Okay.
Your favor will be accomplished. And then it has it has Z at the bottom, who you, even at -2 intelligence, you're like, this is talked about. And so you have to, again, hand that note that's written on to the lady of the house of Mont Blanc, Lady of Mont Blanc, and you have to then nod to her and mention that your favorite
flower is roses.
Flower is roses.
Okay.
And then
Dragon puts it back in his pocket and is
Maloon.
Fuck, I'm blanking on his Maloon. Yeah. Is Maloon nearby?
Maloon is literally right over your shoulder, and it's like, you got to get Lady Roses or something. He's pretty blasted. He's like, oh, you got a special lady you got to get roses for? Oh, who's Dragon front? Tia. When you have when a Dragonborn, is she another Dragonborn? Hey, I'm a fan of himbos, shimbos, and thembos, so,
Shimbos? You can just say bimbos. I'm fine with it.
I like shimbos. The moment I heard shimbo, I was like, but bimbo exists. Himbo is the mass. What? And they're like, and someone's like, well, but bimbo has been used pejoratively for a long time. Shimbo has not ever been used before, so I didn't invent shimbo, but I will preach to it. But Maloon's sort of over your shoulder, like over your shoulder, peeping at your nose.
Yeah, it turns around. He's like, yes, as a matter of fact. And despite the fact that he was loud, he just like leads it. He's like, where can I find Lady of
Mont Blanc?
Yes, Mont Blanc.
She's in the penuary. The
what?
The penuary. It's a part of a fancy house, and it's also a pen pun because of the Mont Blanc pens. Anyway, you see, I'm very clever.
That's right.
English
lit,
English lit, baby. English literature. That's what you study when you don't want to make money. But anyway, The worst burn down I ever gave myself is I made some terrible, like really stretched out word pun, and then just looked at Kelsey and I'm like, I used to rap regularly for audiences for money. Wordplay was my craft. And so when you ask where the lady of Montbuck House is like, oh, lady of the house. Where would she be right now? Oh, it's concert. She doesn't care for that. Lady of the house. I guess she'd be probably out on the dance floor doing her turn on her dance cards. Like super formal dancing. I don't know if you know this, but a dance card is a quite real thing that existed. That's where the turn of phrase comes from. You would actually fill out your name on a card that was someone's dance card, and then they would know what order to properly have dances in. That's a real fact, too. That's actually where dance card comes from. But yeah, and so you can
well, I
sign up.
imagine her dance card is probably full then.
I don't know, though. You did get that black pepper down, so maybe we need to push. Oh, Maloon will handle it for you. And before you can stop him, he just starts beelining to the ballroom. As Maloon beelines to the ballroom, Maxine and Dragon, who you know, even at -6 or down to 6 intelligence, is definitely frond as a horse. Mostly because it's covered in fungi.
Covered in mushrooms.
Covered in mushrooms. Walk in. And both kind of dolly as she. Another excellent performance. Second time around, even easier for you to play. Flip some style. Encourage the rest of the people to do it. The audience is enthralled. And we pan over to the Lady Mont Blanc. A absolutely beautiful, extremely familiar, tan-skinned, pointed-eared, white-haired, elven woman that, man, this is just for us. Your characters haven't seen her yet. Man, if you couldn't swear that was Zarlaxle just in a full bodice dress, just dancing with various people on the dance card, who would know? And that is where we will end this session of a Waterdeep Dragon Heist, the Booty Pea Saga, with a little bit of performance, maybe some ballroom dancing, after 2 horses fucking some up, a pepper eating contest, a Trump reference, and Shuja trying to impart genuine confidence into a broken, sad man, like recluse genius. It's defensive and difficult. Like all of Hollywood likes. But nonetheless, Sebastian, a name I stole from NADPOD because I couldn't remember his. And I love the name Sebastian. I think it's one of the greatest. It was a lordly character. Man, justice, Sebastian, when he'd whip his sword. But nonetheless,
can't wait to see how Dragon does with the dancing.
With the ballroom dancing? I love making Dragon do just like little mini games. He's such a formal character, but he's so like down to earth. Like Shusha's got like goals. Shusha's very down to earth and practical. Frond, of course. Frond is a wild gremlin. But Dragon is like, and Chesme's got like an angle. Chesme's looking for that money, looking at that. And Dragon's just like, listen, I'm just here. If I see good things I can do, I do good things. Otherwise, if there's not a problem, can I just like hang out and have a good time? I don't really have a skin in this dog. Anyway, Shuja, Dash, why don't you throw out the social meds? Following for you.
Yeah, just hit me up at @KadeshFlow /KadeshFlow for all the things.
At @KadeshFlow /KadeshFlow. Go type it into Google, you'll find it. There's not like a bunch of Kadesh Flows out there. And there's really only one important one, and he's right here. Dragon, Triple A Run, where should people go hunt you down on the interwebs?
You can find me on YouTube at AAA Ron. You can find me on Twitter shitposting at AAA Ron. My handle is also on Twitter now is also Doodoo Butter, so you can find me that
Ugh,
way.
Doo-doo butter. Yep.
why?
Uh,
He
that's
said shit posting, and his handle is doo-doo butter. I don't know how more clear A to B that is.
You're a grown adult. You're a grown adult with a child.
See, my favorite thing about having the handle Doodoo Butter is that when I needle people, when I troll them, and like I try to provoke reactions out of them, like it's just it
Excuse me,
adds a
Mr.
layer
Doodoo
of-
Butter. That was very rude.
Yeah, it adds a layer of satisfaction for me to know that they got pissed off by somebody named Doodoo Butter.
Yeah, right. Right.
You're just like an old timey jester telling the truth while smacking your butt. Like
Exactly.
And
Okay.
not that
And like when people get pissed, sometimes they're like, "Oh yeah, well your name's Doodoo Butter or whatever." Like trying to hold it against me. It's like, yeah,
yeah,
no
I
shit.
chose it, right? Like
why do they
obviously.
self-own like that? What's their
There
Lord.
is a person, not that anyone watches new G4, but there is a person that is an audience fan member of G4 who goes by the handle tag Crap Lord, and they send them excellent bespoke custom make geek gifts all the time that they feature simply so that they can hear a deep cable broadcast say the handle Crap Lord. Sent to us by Crap Lord. We love you, Crap Lord. And like they know what's going on, right? Everyone is aware of why this is happening, but they send them like custom VHSs,
like really
and stuff.
nice stuff.
Really nice,
So it's
like
not just
genuine things that they, of course, open because that's how the internet is these days. You open the gifts you receive on the internet for content and everything, and it's stuff that their own audience and Discord send in. Nice way to credit them.
Yeah.
But it also means that if they do them on any of the shows that simulcast to whatever channel 642 or whatever the fuck G4 is on, you get that.
It's a miracle that it's
said.
alive. You can't.
It's not
don't
gonna
do
be
it.
for all. It's got about a year. And everything. It's fine. It was a bygone era. There's no need for a thing like G4. We have YouTube. But nonetheless, taking us out, Camille, where should people either give money or give focus to in their week? And we remember you get 2 of these this week because we're playing tomorrow unless you cop out. Mm-hmm. So you got to pick which one is more appropriate for Booty Pee and which one is more appropriate for through the mill sanity point game time, through the mill horror sessions.
I am a big supporter of cats and dogs and all sorts of good little critters. You can donate to places that do trap, neuter, release. For wild cats, they don't really want to be inside houses, but they do benefit from getting a vet checkup and getting themselves stitched so they don't make more babies. So feral cats spay and neuter is what I recommend.
Feral cats spay and neuter, yes. Please spay and neuter your pets.
I'm Bob Barker, and this is.
I mean, a lot of people are like, "Oh, is that done?" No, it's not done. It'll never be done. We have too many quadruped domesticated animals in North America. It'll never be done.
And they do a heck to our it's both a ecological reason as well as better treatment for those animals, and also you help take care of your community cats until we don't have community cats anymore, hopefully.
Yep. Hopefully. But nonetheless, I've been your dungeon mommy. This has been Dungeons is Dying of Exposure, Waterdeep Dragon Heist, the Booty Pea Saga. We will be back sometime. We're gonna shake up the stream and everything like this in a bit. I might have to pick some unique days. I will go into that. I will do that, and then once that's all settled, you will see much more regular streaming schedule here at Dying of Exposure, and even possibly some actual edited content. Maybe.
What?
Maybe I have a
Shock
video
it
I'm
out.
currently editing.
Oh.
Maybe it's about racism in D&D. It might be, or it might just.
Is that gonna be like an hour-long fucking deep dive?
No, it's like 10 minutes. It's
God.
like 10 minutes. I mean, you could go.
There's only the
you
two
could go.
options.
Yeah, there's only the two options.
I mean, it's either like you
It could
gotta
be a
like be like,
series.
look, this is it, 10 minutes, or like this is it, 10 hours.
10
There's no
hours.
in between.
It's the length of the Civil War documentarian or American baseball or whatever the fuck the person that does those endless long documentaries. But no, it could be as long as it wants, but it's like a 9 to 12 minute video. Where I go over it very simply and matter of factly, and I do it, and hopefully some racist people will comment and give me engagement.
Will come out.
Come out of the woodwork so that I can make them feel bad, because it's a thing that I can put on and attack people for and have no threat of, and so why not? The internet's a bad place, but nonetheless. So yeah, come back to Dying Exposure. There'll be updates over on the Twitter, updates to the website and stuff like that. Watch Questboard Gaming. That's where me and another person I play D&D with, Brandon Wilson, talk about different tabletop things every week or two, and everything. And all of the content for video and live stream will be here. If you are watching this and happen to be a Twitch supporter, you can still give us money over there, but I'm not going to be streaming over there unless I'm guesting on someone else's stream. Which pay attention for announcements for that, because I think I've got 2 of those lined up where I will be playing on other people's streams. But anyway,
Busy lad.
Yep. Well, I'm that's what happens. You're on TikTok long enough, you're bound to run into it. But nonetheless, everyone have a good
like
night.
And subscribe and smash that bell icon.
Yeah, you smash the bell
Check on
icon. Get
YouTube
notified when we go live. It can either be something lighthearted like this or murder caves. And people going slowly tragic. If you need the vibe of the other game, look at the last Through the MILF thumbnail on YouTube. That's the vibe. That is the vibe right now, and it will continue to be that vibe for several seconds. But nonetheless,
It's
night,
good.
everyone.
I feel safe.